all good.
It's live streaming now. Nope, we're live right now. So we're just gonna.
Is there any?
That guy just started it.
Sorry.
That guy just started the live stream by knocking it up here, so we're just gonna.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Try to. There's going to be some movement. Hopefully,
I'll hold on to it. Thank you.
Well, Kansas City. Right. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I'm going to.
Planning to start again? Here we are.
Welcome. Can't wait to help you on the next one.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah, I don't know how people all reach out some way, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm in the group, so after this, if you want to
Hey, Chris.
reach out or...
Yeah. Hey, brother. Good to see you. How you been?
I've been kicking over.
We got the whole Wednesday stretch here.
That's what we should.
Oh, really? Nice. Got a nice little turnout here. I guess. I was in the neighborhood and done stop by.
I was supposed to drive something here.
Oh, really? Guess everybody. Hey, I'm here. Yeah.
Good evening.
I thought I'd show
I can't hear you. Good evening. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. For those who are standing on the outside, there are seats in the front. There are seats also on the balcony. Please come on in and make yourselves at home. We're all family. Please, everyone take a seat and make yourself comfortable. There is seats on the top, on the balcony. Yeah, everyone come on in and make yourself at home.
Thank you, though.
See a chair? Take a chair.
Bro, no, it's all good. I literally been sitting all day.
There's extras on
Thank you, though.
to my left. Okay. First and foremost, thank you all for coming here tonight to our Broadway. Woo! Put your hands together. In case you don't know, my name is Vital K. Damn, you don't know who I am. Okay. I'm here because of one word. A word that you all understand. It begins with 4 letters. K, D, damn, you are so smart. Yeah, KDHX. My name is Vital K. I was at KDHX starting in the year 2008, August. Came to St. Louis the year before, courtesy of my wife. I knew nothing about St. Louis, but she told me about KDHX. So my wife, who's sitting here today in front, we thank you. I became a member of KDHX because I heard about the legacy. The legacy of KDHX. There's an individual in here by the name of Tom Ray. Where are you? Where are you? Stand up, please. If you want to feel think about and talk about the person who built KDHX, that's the man right there.
The radio station is in here tonight.
Come here. Come here. Come here.
Look at how good and pleasant it is to see everybody here. And I'd just like to mention, I just saw one of the foundation adults in charge of KDHX back in 1987. And let's have a round of applause for Miss Susan Littlefield. Susan, where are you? But I'm going to hand the mic back, and I just want to say that my 35 years at KDHX allowed me to do what I really wanted to do, which is glorify and promote the music scene in our city, this river city of St. Louis.
Thank you, my brother. I've been in KDHX for 15 years. Hosted reggae music. Wanted to bring reggae music to this community, but it was already here. It was already here. So I joined forces with... Do you know who that guy is?
Michael Belker!
Who? Pablo, please stand up for us, please, just for a moment, so we can acknowledge you. Like I said, I was here for 15 years. Part of St. Louis history. My 15 years pales compared to my colleagues who are here with us tonight in the room. All of the founding members who helped to build KDHX 38 years ago, we thank you. We thank you. We thank you. You created history where not only KDHX was known here in St. Louis, it was known outside. And we have a very big reputation, a good reputation. But that was all shattered when in February of 23, Tom was unceremoniously dismissed. 5 months later, Andy Coco, are you here?
No, he's in New Orleans.
That's okay, I'll work with that. So, Andy, Andrea Stein, are you here?
Oh, my tie-dye glory.
Yes, you are. Those two were the next casualties after Tom. And then in September, 2 months later, 10 of my colleagues were targeted, marginalized, and told that their services are no longer needed. I was one of 12 who resigned in protest against the termination of my colleagues. And after that, all hell broke loose. We didn't know what to do. Drea, Mark Hyken, are you here?
Yes.
Woo! Right here. Like that.
Mark Hyken. Tom Coolney, are you here? Tom Coolney, are you here? I know you're here.
Mr. Dre.
Michael Kilken. Alan Dahm. Dr. Jeff, are you here? What a roll call. We all got together inside of Dre's house, just like how we're meeting now. And we said, what can we do? What can we do to make this right? Correct what's wrong and make it right. And we brainstormed until the point where we are here today. And that's how the League of Volunteer Enthusiasts was created. We've grown, and it's our goal to correct the wrongs that have been done. To bring the community together. The community has been omitted from KDHX. We're here to bring the community back to KDHX. You, the community, play a very important role in the lifeline and the lifeblood of KDHX. We're here to restore that. You've got volunteers. Like I said, my 15 are nothing. 30 years, 24 years. What are we going to do? That's who I am.
We're gonna fight.
Are we? Are we? Yes. The answer to that is yes, we are going to fight. But there's a lot of energy in this room here tonight. The subject matter should not be the individuals who we all know. The purpose of the meeting here tonight is for us to share ideas, to think, how can we get KDHX back to the community? How can every one of us here get back involved and take back what's ours? Take back what's ours.
We built it.
Yes, we damn well did.
Yeah.
And we have a right to say so. And to be involved in everything that the station's doing. The station is supposed to be responsive to you. If you ask a question, it's supposed to answer it. That's not happening. We're here to make it right. And we're here to build and resurrect KDHX for a different entity when we get the opportunity to step back inside of our house.
We will.
Yes, we will. And another person who is here and another member of KDHX is my colleague, Alan Dahm.
Thank you, Ital. I haven't been on the stage in about 10 years. I was an MC when we had a local bands came in and covered Uncle Tupelo. I don't know how many of you out here are familiar with Uncle Tupelo. We had about 10 bands come up, and I was MCing between bands. And I started with KDHX 15 years ago. I volunteered in the music library for about 3 years as I waited to have a show. Obviously, shows were hard to come by at that point. Maybe later they were easier. But at that point, getting a show took 3 years. And I was willing to wait. I was willing to volunteer. I was willing to do what I needed to do. And I then had a show called Bittersweet Melody for 12 years. And thank you. And about 2 years in or so, I had that opportunity to be MC, and I thought, how great is this? I mean, this place was packed. It was wall-to-wall people. It was a great night. And that's the kind of community that KDHX used to stand for. All that money went to KDHX. I'm sure there were some, costs to off-Broadway, but for the most part, all that money went to KDHX. And it was such a great night. And I joined my colleagues, and I left the show about 2 years on my own, but I saw where things were going. And I certainly didn't see what ended up happening happened. But I left on my own, and I want to make sure that everybody here knows that I would have been like Ital and others, and I would have left to support my fellow DJs who were let go. It was a hard time for all of us, and I know there are some DJs here that lost their show last week, and I'm very sorry for all of you. I know how much of a hole that leaves in your heart. It did for me. It took me a while to just know what to do on Wednesday mornings, honestly, and setting up my show the night before. And we're all on your side. We all want to bring back KDHX to what it was and have it come back as even more. And I'm not as eloquent as Ital, but I'm going to turn over my mic to Rich Reese, who did Pop the Beat Bubble Burst for about the same amount of time as I did.
Thanks, Alan. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I want just to say a couple of things. First of all, I want you all to know that the love of KDHX, the group that we formed, we've been meeting once a week, every single week for 19 months. We are in this for the long haul. This is not something that we're just, hey, let's see what we can do. No, we are looking at every angle, every way possible forward to fix this solution and to bring community back to community radio. And we want to also, you know, it's so great to see so many faces, familiar faces that I've known for so many years. But I would like to introduce you all, even though I don't know the names. I would like all of the new DJs and the people that were just fired on Friday to stand up. Or if you're standing, raise your hand. Our intent is to bring KDHX back, old DJs with the new DJs. We'll figure out a way. We've already got a program grid that we've figured out. We're going to have to shorten some 3-hour shows to 2 hours. Maybe some shows will have to double up. But we will make it happen, and we will bring KDHX back. In fact, I want to officially announce that we are in the market to purchase KDHX. There's two ways we can do this. Either buy it outright or remove the board and the management and slide in there and pay off their debt. There's those two ways, but we are committed to doing this. We've been running focus groups to see who would be interested in donating money and we've already got, other than the money we already raised, we've got $111,000 in commitments. And we haven't even mentioned this thing like that. This is just talking to focus groups. So we think we can do this with the help of you, the community. So, thank you all very much for coming here tonight. I do want to mention that Ital, Alan, and I are the chair people for the Love of KDHX, co-chairs, and the co-chair that just his term just ended is my friend here, Christopher Schwartz, known as DJ X24.
I'll keep mine a little bit brief. My name is DJ X24. I originally moved to St. Louis in '98, and my friend Tony Renner got me involved back then. I did a little bit of helping out there. I moved back. Like many of you, I started off as a listener and contributed money. And eventually, as COVID kind of started going away, I applied for a show, got a show, and for 2 years I hosted, actually not one but 2 shows. and had a great time. And then, as Ital said, everything went sideways. So I'm also the legal committee chairperson for this group. We can't talk much about legal strategy, but I hope everyone has read and perhaps started following what we have been doing. We filed a lawsuit last Wednesday, just in the nick of time. I'll say a couple things. Our goal is to replace the board of directors, with the exception of Courtney Gallo. Courtney here? All right. We do not have the authority to go directly after Kelly Wells, but we understand the executive director is the cause of many of these problems. But legally, we need to look at the board of directors. So that's where our emphasis is. So that's our goal, and we are looking to fight this. We understand that they're looking at options. We can't confirm this, but it looks like they may be selling it. We will be challenging those actions in court as best we can and trying to get the DJs that were fired to maintain their associate membership so that the people that should have a say in the future of the station will have that. Yeah. And we are committed that if we ever do get control of the board.
I'm Jackie T. I'm representative of the newer members. I have an interesting story in the sense that I have not been involved with KDHX for too long, only about a year and a half now, but I have been involved with so many members of the KDHX community. I was a transplant, came here in 2012, did what any music lover does, turn your radio all the way to the left of the dial, find out what good music is playing that is indicative of the music scene here. Fell in love with KDHX, then met my now husband, who was a musician, got involved in the music scene, and slowly but surely met DJ after DJ after DJ after DJ, till one night at Bob and Francine's house, I got sort of pushed instantly onto the KDHX softball team. I really didn't know how to say, they're like, you play softball, you're now on the team. That's how I got involved with a bunch of the members. Then after years and years of them telling me that I should have a show, I finally applied in 2021, got approved 2 days before they let go of Papa Ray. Then started my show in August. A month later, Andy and Andrea were let go. A couple weeks later or something, the rest of them, especially people like Rich and Bobby and John and Roy, who were very supportive of me joining the ranks of the DJs. People that I felt this was the community that I signed up for were no longer there. So this is very important to me because as a transplant, these people welcomed me with open arms completely. This is the music community that we know and love and what is indicative of St. Louis and the music scene.
I'm Jean Ponzi and I'm a talk show host. But I can also read music and carry tunes. And it's my privilege to get to be the moderator of this forum tonight. And a couple of things to say about my involvement with KDHX and why we're here tonight. So I am the woman who was on KDHX the longest until last Friday. Thanks to the 60-second interstitial that was really anchored by the weekly work of calendar production of my friend and colleague Lori Klein. And hi, Lori. Yep. Are there other calendar producers here? Or reviewers here? Thank you. Thank you. Those announcements, people who recorded spots, you're getting to be that voice on the radio, getting to have people recognize my voice in the checkout line at Schnucks. I never get tired of that. Yes, I am Jean Ponzi. So, the having been on KDHX so long, since August of 1988, I mean, that was August. We got on the air in October '87, August '88, August 1st '88. I got on the air. I was a co-host of the morning show. Remember, we had teams of co-hosts across the 5 days of the morning show, and I was on Friday with Otis Woodard and Jeff Ritter, who was the person who got me on there and was the last boyfriend of my flaming youth. In those days, and then I found true love, and that was really good. In those days, the mission of KDHX was to involve women and minorities in media, and I'm a woman and I could talk. So Dave Taylor, our station manager, second manager after Brian Costello, who got us on the air, great radio mentors. How many people here learned from Dave and got on the station when Dave was on the station? Detroit Dave, man, he brought some training, he brought some experiences, the kind of thing that I would like to see come back to KDHX. People who are involved or who would like to be involved and draw out that communication potential. So Earthworms, my talk show, which was kind of a happy accident, that has been the anchor, the major contributor, thank you KDHX, of my professional life as an environmental contributor, which has become my vocation. And when the special meeting was called in, what was that, August of 2023, that was the first time I kind of got back involved, I was checking it out, kind of sussing it out, and had heard this and heard that, and I think I might have had a small group meeting with Kelly and Andrea or one of those things before then, and what's going on here? What's happening? And then pretty quickly, how can I be of service to what is happening to KDHX? Because it is not right. It is not okay that people who contribute our creativity and our time are not treated like anything but honorable, valued volunteer contributors. So I was on the nice list for a long time, but I was also working with the love of KDHX behind the scenes. Worms. And the last time I was here at Off-Broadway was for the celebration of life of my dear friend Larry Weir. When people who have contributed to KDHX have passed out of this life, we celebrated them. When one individual who was a humongous contributor to KDHX, John McHenry, passed out of life, there was like barely a whisper. And a couple of other things have happened since then. Michael Culker, Jay Schober. I'm sure of, who else am I thinking about?
Michael Castro.
I said Michael Culker.
No, Castro.
Michael Castro. Oh my God, the poet laureate of St. Louis. Thank you. We should be like having a party and celebrating them and, playing their music and reading their poetry and having that all be all over KDHX. The reason that it's not is because if a person is in charge of an organization that runs on person power and that person has no people skills, that is wrong. That is a mismatch. And that's what we've had. And I know because of my work in sustainability and now ecology is all about relationships. And the thing that is a humongous wealth in St. Louis is relationships. Who do you know? Who do you love? Who did you love? Who did you work for? Who did you work with? Who did you live by? One of my cardinal rules in life is I never tell anybody off, no matter how pissed off I am, because you never know when you're going to have to work with them or somebody you know is going to fall in love with them or whatever, and that's just too much to deal with. So that is why I am involved with the love of KDHX and why I am here standing up for the entity who is KDHX, the heart and the voice of our community. That big voice is not silent yet. It's pretty kind of, it's hanging by threads. It's on life support. And maybe that entity is going to need a heart transplant. But we're not dead yet. And our efforts together and the organization, the work that the love of KDHX has done, which is, frankly, mostly guys. And as an old feminist, I'm impressed when guys can pull a thing like this together. A lot of good guys in this gathering. So we have a couple of house rules. This is an opportunity for anyone who is here tonight to be heard. We need to be able to be heard. We need to be able to connect with each other and meet one another and be able to work together going forward. And this is not a wake, but this is definitely a connective tissue kind of meeting. So a couple of house rules. We've got a wireless mic and we've got another mic set up there. And the next thing here will be an opportunity for anyone who would like to share what you, if you have questions, if you have a strong feeling, if you have comments. We'd like to keep it to like 2-3 minutes a person, please, and be respectful of others' time. And I'm going to give you the nod or the stink eye if necessary, if that's the case. Expectations for this? And hats off to Kristen Blake, who has put this way of relating to one another into the heart of the love of KDHX, and that's one of the reasons why I got involved, because this is how we operate. Be respectful. Please refrain from interrupting others and avoid personal attacks. This is not a hate fest here tonight. This is a love fest, and let us express that part of it. Stay on topic. Please ensure that your questions or your comments are relative to the session's focus. And if you have an off-topic thing, you know we might just redirect you. 2-3 minute time limit. We're going to be a little bit flexible here. And if you would rather not stand up and speak, even though I think probably many of the people in this room are adept at using microphones, Laura and Maddie back there, they're under the green light. We've got some pieces of paper. You can write out your question. We might take a little break and then regroup and look at those questions. This is a chance to ask, what do you want to know about what's going on from the love of KDHX? And what would you like to say about what's going on here in our community? Chris?
Right. Before we start, I wanted to thank the Lenny Jewell and the people, Lindsay, and the other people that have been doing a great job on Facebook and providing the forum and keeping the site alive for the listeners in the community. So I don't want to leave them out before we get started.
I wasn't good, but we gather, we're in different groups. We have different kind of cadres, different kind of connections. And that's another of the strengths of community radio. That's another of the strengths of this community is, you might be a folkie, you might be a talkie, you might be a punk, you might be a whatever, but working together across those lines as one community to restore this resource of community radio. And before I stop, I'm going to just read you something from the former 10-year head of the National Federation of Community Broadcasters. This is an organization of community radio stations that we were involved with, we were a leader of for many years. And we could be again. Whether it's local journalism, storytelling, live events, music discovery, or the exploration of cultural nuance and meaning, community radio broadcasters provide a nexus where community life and civic life meet and interact at the local level. Local community media is people-powered, and it helps communities to thrive. 43,000 lots of people-powered, and we're not dead yet. So, want to add anything, or anybody want to step right up to the MIC?
We got Pablo.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. I can't see because there's a light in my eye. What a welcome.
I'm Pablo Machidi, and I started with the station when it representatives been on the air for a week. And I do no time to tarry here on Sunday afternoons. Something I would like to address. People have been asking what is wrong with KDHX, and I'm here to say that I don't think it's a problem of personalities. The station has had a problem of process since it's gone on the air, and we started out with a management structure that was democratic in structure, that the annual members and associate members elected the board of trustees, and that got taken away over the years. The board ruled that in the original structure, the members selected the majority of the board, and then at some point along the road, it got revised to be only 3 members of the board elected by the annuals and the associates, and that was a violation of the democracy that the station was built on. I speak, well, if I can throw in a personal note, I used to preside over the meetings of associate members as the administrator of the associates, and suddenly the board of directors decided that they were going to run the meetings, and they decided unilaterally. But I think that the station has suffered by a failure of process over the years, and I would like to see us return to the original conception of the station as an organization run on democratic lines.
I just want to say this real fast. There were 3 structures at KDHX that ensured quality of programming, and it kept the station democratic. And that was the fact that you had a program committee, you had the associates, and you had management. Management did not run the program committee, and when you came in to do a show, the first question that was asked of you is, what are you wanting to do at KDHX that is not on the airwaves of St. Louis right now? Losing the program committee and the associates basically allowed, if you'll excuse the expression, the fuckery we see now.
Hi everybody, my name is Lee Fisher, and taking advantage of the opportunity that you guys had an open meeting, just basically to introduce myself, to volunteer, and to tie it to a question, how can I volunteer? How can anybody else who's not been involved with the organization, where do you need any kind of support that's helping the current effort that also gets me on a list, I guess?
Thanks for your question. So we do meet weekly, and once a month, first Tuesday of the month, is an open meeting. You're more than welcome to come to our next open meeting, and I believe that if you go to the merge table, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you can get on a list as well. Sign-up sheets. So you want to go back to the merch table or back to the corner, you can get on a sign-up sheet. But you're more than welcome to come to our next open meeting, which will be next Tuesday, the first Tuesday of March. And there's an application form to fill out. You can become a member of Love. It's at the VFW Hall in Richmond Heights. I can't remember the exact address. I think it's
on Big Bend.
1717 South Brentwood.
Big Bend.
Big Bend.
Big Bend.
1717 South Big Bend Boulevard.
Thank you. So yeah, you're more than welcome to come. We'd love to have you. At least the first time you can listen to a meeting, kind of see if it's something you want to be involved in, and then absolutely we would love to have you. And that goes for anybody here that's interested. Again, we have sign-up sheets in the back. You can join up, and the next public meeting, as I said, will be Tuesday the 7th, right?
I'm not sure the date.
Okay, the first Tuesday of March, 7 o'clock at that VFW.
Which gives time to figure out how to work with more person power. It takes some figuring to do that, but good, thanks for bringing that right up so that can be in the old hopper.
Hi everyone, I'm Lillian Claire Dogenhoff. A lot of you have chatted with me on the State KDHX page or at the original event that was hosted outside this fine bookstore to help fundraise with this lovely group. They have a beautiful booth there. Again, I'm Lily. I want to talk to you anytime. If you have questions about what's going on, I've been following it for years because this has been going on since there was an initial issue with funds, and then they replaced the director with an interim director, and that is Kelly Wells, and that is why people are so upset with her. Because it wasn't an appropriate search to find an appropriate executive director. I'm sharing this information because a lot of people don't know why everyone got fired, and they think, oh, if you got fired, things are your fault, and that's not what's happening. Prior to that, there was a group of people that did their research, they got witness reports, and they reported harassment and derogatory experiences and very inappropriate things, and Kelly did not step down from her position. She is the person who harassed these people. She is the person who kissed one of them on the mouth at an event in front of others, and she is in a position of power over that person. This is not an appropriate leader, okay? And the board failed at removing her from her position. The board failed at searching and finding an appropriate executive director. And I really think that the story of those people is very, very important. However, they have very good reason not to show up and speak, because that is a traumatic event. That is a horrible event. And they fought, and they brought up a case, and apparently, who knew about it? It was published in the newspaper. We all got swept up in the pandemic. I just assumed that she had been let go, because who would stay? Who would keep that person? So I just wanted to share that, because those people have already spoken up and already tried their fight, and we are continuing that, okay? It's not a simple situation, but we've got a really good group of people here that are trying really hard to keep the station going. So, I love you guys. Thank you.
Also, Kristen's got the mic. He's here, there, in the aisle. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, so it sounds like I'm glad to learn that there's a plan to buy the station, as I understand, and replace the board.
Could you just introduce yourself, please?
Oh, yeah. I'm known as Digger, but Daniel Romano. I'm a St. Louis resident for a long time. And so my thing is, to really save the station, get it going, you're going to need a new, obviously, station manager, executive director. What are the plans there? Is the search already on? Who would that person be? How would we find that person? Because it needs to be done quickly, I think, to make this all happen. Thank you all very much.
All good.
I'll try to feel this one bigger. So I've led a subcommittee of love called the Contingency Plan. We obviously have been thinking of different methods that we can buy the station if this situation ever happened. We were working on trying to reach out to current associates so that when the sale was going to go through a vote, we would have the vote on our side, and we would, obviously win the vote, and they wouldn't be able to sell. We didn't anticipate what happened on Friday. We didn't think that they would fire all the associates at once, leaving the only potential votes to be the board. So in some ways, we were caught a little flat-footed by that. So as far as looking for an executive director, we've had some names floated about, but there's still a lot of work on our part to collect the funds. And we've got Jean and Laura have been working on a message that we plan to extend to the community in the next few weeks. And we also are working on the financing, which obviously a lot of us don't have a lot of money to give. I understand that. We're trying to work on a capital campaign to do that. So at this point, our thoughts are more on buying the station and then working, and I think we've all talked amidst ourselves about volunteering to do basically what that job would entail until we're able to hire a person. So we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves and hire that person yet, or at least have gotten to that point, because we don't know exactly how this is going to play out over the next weeks and months. I hope that helps.
I think that's a good point, mentioning too that there wasn't a search to begin with. Kelly was the interim director. There was never a search. The plan is to have a search and to actually do due diligence in the process.
I have been on the KDHX staff. I was the program director from December '93 until April '95. And I will tell you that it's very challenging to be on the staff of KDHX. You're working with a lot of creatives, you're working with a lot of people, and you've got to be a remarkable person to be able to do that. I was not actually that person, so when it was time for me to stop, I stopped. If someone realizes that's not that person, they should go on and do something else. It's very much in my mind how KDHX might be operated going forward beyond this point of consolidated control. So I just want to put in 2 cents worth that that's looking at other community radio stations, looking at other structures. We certainly have remarkable connections throughout this community and partnerships throughout this community that could help find a person or persons and pitch in on a volunteer basis to get things back up and running again.
Just like what was mentioned before, part of our objective here at the League of Volunteer Enthusiasts is to get the community involved. We know there's strengths here in every single one of you, and you're all committed to help build KDHX and rebuild it back to where it used to be. So part of the plan, yes, is to tap into every single one of you that's here. What can you do? What do you think we can do to make this thing right, to grow and resurrect KDHX?
Throw a concert.
That's part of the plan. That's, we have, and we're thinking about events like that. That's all part of community involvement. I know you all remember and miss, what's the name of that,
Mississippi River Festival.
we used to have
There's lots of things you miss. All the things I've lost.
Oh, Architect. Remember that?
Thank you very much.
City Museum. Do you remember City Museum? Midwest Mayhem, okay. That was a perfect example of KDHX in the community involved. We were there with you, and you were there with us. And it was one big party, no matter what floor you were on. So like I said, community involvement, that's going to be part of the rebuilding process. You're involved. Count on it. You're involved. And your involvement starts tonight. To help you, get yourself enrolled with the League of Volunteer Enthusiasts. You'll know exactly what's going on, and we'll keep you updated. Next question. Sure.
Hello. Can I say one thing? Andy Coco and Art or Al Holiday. Is Art Dry or Al Holiday watching?
Al Holiday. That's what I saw.
Watching live stream right now.
For our audience that is watching the live stream, wherever you are, we thank you for joining us and being part of this historic occasion. Sir, your question.
And thanks to Kate Gumer, who's making this live stream possible.
Hi guys, I'm Andrew. I was also known as Andy J. I was probably one of the last DJs they brought on. Had show up for free. Snowboard show, playing in the middle of the night. And it's really funny because Kelly Wells kept saying to us that, oh, no one listens to terrestrial radio anymore. And I know that's a load of crock because my friends, because I've crawled through the punk scene for years and I'm starting to crawl in our rave scene, which are both becoming very world class. And people would post it on their stories of like, oh my gosh, my song's on KDHX. There was a band I saw here on Friday, Where's the Rum? Their drummer, he's from Australia, his cousin was like, his band got 55 new followers in St. Louis. My show's in the middle of the night on a Wednesday. That's like the least time that anybody would be listening. So for Kelly Wells to be telling us that nobody listens to us, no one cares about us, is complete crock. It's not true at all. And I wish we would bring it back to our community. This is our station, not theirs.
My name is Jamie McFeeters. I was fortunate enough to help build and create the City Museum back in 1997. Here tonight. My mind has been thinking and considering money and big money and potential donors and influencers of the arts in St. Louis. So my question to you all is, where does Nancy Kranzberg stand in all of
this? Neutral. So Nancy is not here tonight, and I feel strongly that for any one of us who have been long-time contributors in various ways to KDHX, it's a disservice to that person to try to speak for them. Let's be fair here. The Kranzbergs and the Kranzbergs Art Foundation have done a humongous job. They are doing I've said humongous like 5 times now. They are big supporters of the arts. They're not the only ones here. Looking at what kinds of partnerships, what kinds of joining forces are possible is very, very much in the mind of love of KDHX. It's also very much in my mind because this is such a big arts town, and we have Regional Arts Commission, and we have all the individual, drama, music, spoken word, theater, all of those kinds of things, dance, poetry. Making connections going forward is something that I think that we need to focus on. And whether that's people who are patrons or whether they are performers themselves, everyone has a potential to contribute and everyone will have that opportunity to contribute. Thanks for bringing that up.
The Kranzbergs have been incredibly generous with the building and the loan against that building. They have not, to my knowledge, this is what I've heard, it's an interest-free loan and it's not been paid on in over a year. So they have done a lot, and I hope that we can team with them in the future to keep that same space and to work out a deal with them. But they've obviously invested a lot in KDHX, and we hope that they will continue. But at this point, it's just a hope. We don't know.
Do you plan to speak to them about this?
We do plan, they will be on our list. Yes, the Cranbrook Arts Foundation will be on our list.
We've got a few empty seats up here if anybody wants to come down. I know there's some people outside, and looks like this kind of thing over here. If you want to slide in on the other side of the room, we can get you all in so you can hear us.
So this guy over here,
Hello there. Does anyone recognize me? Guess what? I'm nobody. I'm a listener. I'm a listener.
Yeah.
And I give my money, and I basically help bail out this station from about 3 or 4 major financial disasters. And the listeners come out and we save it. So I'm standing here because I don't really know shit about what's going on. I hear about diversity issues, I hear about racism, I hear about white males, problems with white males, whatever. We're going to stop there on that one. But anyway, so I just came here to try to learn what's going on. But I also try to be educated. And the fact of the matter is that this reminds me when my wife tried to save our children's daycare. The bottom line is that L.B. Gillis Corporation has listed this station for sale. So to me, you should be worried about how we're going to earn money to buy the station. And I've heard that here tonight, and so you've answered most of my questions, is that I think your only path forward is to purchase this station because it is for sale. And there is no on-air broadcast.
Where have you seen that posted?
There was a newsletter that was sent out. It was on KTVI Channel 2, and it was a link that I connected to off of the Love of KDHX newsletter that comes in my email. And so as I was researching, I found out this information on Friday that they stopped on-air broadcasting through the newsletter. I found a link to the KTVI Channel 2 story that talked about the double helix's, feelings, and they basically said the transmitter is for sale. Okay? Now, is that true? I don't know. Because what did I say? Who am I? Nobody. Okay? So, bottom line is I just came here to offer my money as a volunteer or as a donor, and I'll do whatever I can. I'll pledge right here to do what I can to help this station. I love it. I've shed tears. Literally, look at me. A grown man crying. Can you imagine what that looks like? That's disgusting. For a guy who looks like me, oh my God, crying in his basement because he misses his favorite shows. Oh my God. What's going on? And I give my money and my time freely. I signed up for your list, and I came in, and I give you my word, I'm not be more involved. So it sounds more like what you need is money, because you've got a transmitter to buy.
That's right.
My name is John Lund. I've lived in St. Louis. I moved to St. Louis, where I moved to Illinois in 1976. My family was in the military. I grew up and I was born in England. I grew up overseas in Germany, all over the world, and we basically crash landed over at Scott Air Force Base in Illinois. Went to Mascouda High School, went to Lincoln Tech for some trade school, and then moved to St. Louis, met my wife, raised 2 kids, 26 and 21. I do love this town. I consider it my home. Even though I wasn't born here, I remember being a small child, laying in the back of my family's station wagon, looking at that arch coming across that bridge, and it never stopped in my head. So KDHX is a part of that, and this is where I'm going to start crying, so I'm done. I'm really sorry. Thank you to all these DJs. I cannot thank you. I listen to every style of music there is. Rap, reggae, folk, blues, American Indian. I love Pablo shows and the American folk shows. There is no type of music that I don't listen to. So the lack of diversity, bullshit.
I just want to let people know there is a table if somebody's looking for a place to sit up in the balcony with a couple of open chairs, so just interchecking.
Really quickly, We do not know everything, and we certainly don't know what's going on in the boardroom and in the offices on the fourth floor. There's been no formal announcement that the station is for sale, but we do suspect that they're actively trying to find somebody. When that sale is announced and it comes out of the dark, away from non-disclosure agreements and whatever secrecy, it is a requirement that they apply for the transfer with the FCC. And at that point, there'll be a 30-day comment period with the FCC that anyone can lodge their opinion or any facts about the sale. So we hope that the sale will not happen, obviously. We hope that legal action, we will try to block the sale if we can. But there is an opportunity, and I do not know what's going to happen, but when the FCC opens that comment period, please don't be shy. Take advantage of the opportunity to let them know what you think of the sale. Okay, going out.
I'm just going to add one thing to that, because I've been digging in a lot to the FCC and actually had two really nice conversations with Courtney and Annette at the FCC. You can talk to a person at the Federal Communications Commission. They manage this kind of transfer all the time. There are sales, there are transfers of licenses. If you turn over your board of directors and you're a nonprofit, more than 50%, you have to notify the FCC. If your power goes down, you have to notify the FCC. So it's like routine business for them. They post this stuff every day. It's not like only on Thursdays. So we are watching that. It's not like the FCC is going to ride in and stop the sale, because think about, the Federal Communications Commission and everything they do. But we are paying attention, and that is a formal way to keep track of what is happening with any possible transactions. So thanks for saying that. I'm not sure exactly what KTVI was saying, but at this point, nothing has been posted on the FCC website.
Okay, we got one over here. We got a few, actually.
Okay, just a second. I just want to ask a question. Is Jeremy Goodwin here? Jeremy Goodwin, are you here? Okay.
We got a line on both sides.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Next.
No, it's your turn.
I'm Julia Williams. Probably read some of my incendiary comments online. I've been working since day one really hard on researching different ways of getting some movement from the leadership. And I just kind of wanted to say that while it was also my idea and John Shoemaker, who is one of the original people who we talked for 5 hours last week or a week before on the phone. He's in Columbia, wasn't able to make it tonight. He's an attorney, and as I said, he helped build the transfer about getting the board removed for good reasons, because they have fiduciary duty that they have been grossly negligent of, as well as many other things. But as far as other possibilities, I have been talking to different forms of law enforcement at every level anonymously. And because I've been following what things actually have transpired, it's not about a hate fest, but people are accountable for the actions that they create for other people. And the aspect of fraud, soliciting donations under the false pretenses that they were financially sound when they knew they weren't, and that's documented and documentable. That's a serious offense. And there are other things like that, like paying yourself more money than the income, as well as a PR firm who is spinning things to cover and not let you access public information. Sunshine laws being that lawsuit is coming up also this month. The refusal to allow people to see financials, to see the minutes, to have any vote, to remove associate members who they don't have any authority to remove. And I mean, I work really hard and I spend a lot of time talking to people, officials, and researching and trying to get this done. And believe me, a lot of us are doing this. So, if this particular thing doesn't work quickly, there are other options that we are all working on. And they're real and they're serious, because when you offend the law as seriously as multiple occasions have happened, there are consequences.
Thank you.
I could tell you stories and go on for hours. I promise I'll keep it to 4 minutes.
4 minutes. I'm watching. I'm watching, girl. 8:10. You got it.
Because there's so much here. Let me start by saying Paul Stambler, Pamela Meshuggah is exactly right about process. This station, or no, I'm sorry, back up. Double Helix Corporation, note the name, was started by a bunch of people who wanted to get a community radio station after KDNA went off the air in 1972. Fabulous segue. John Shoemaker was the attorney who wrote our Articles of Incorporation. I came in like 1973. I like radio, what can I do to help? And there wasn't much to do because we didn't have a frequency. I ended up on the board, which meant that John Shoemaker was going to do everything he could do to train me in proper thinking for associations founded by old hippies. Back then we were young. So I want to talk about, not strategy, because I don't know who's in this room besides the true believers. I want to talk about philosophy and process. Here's what John Shoemaker taught me. Very smart corporation lawyer. And when I ended up, because nobody else wanted to do it, secretary on the board of directors, oh my God, you got to take notes, and we didn't have computers, and you had to type it. He said, here's the thing all of us who are doing this really understand. A nonprofit radio station is about the volunteers. It is about the people who will come and do the shows every week and file back then we had vinyl albums, file stuff back in the record library and help with the yard sales or the fundraisers or the things that kept us going when you didn't have a whole lot of money. But here's the most important thing I took away from John Shoemaker. The night that we were drinking a lot of probably very cheap wine, sitting on the floor in somebody's apartment as an all-volunteer organization. And he said, in a nonprofit that is focused on volunteers, like most of the community radio stations in the country are, and John wrote a great many of those articles of incorporation, said, the volunteers are the servants of the organization. The board is there to support the volunteers, and the staff are the servants of the servants. When we moved from Magnolia, a bunch of us old-timers who had been there on October 14th, 1987 at 12:14 a.m. As I was chair of the committee, I got to pick the first thing we were ever going to play, which was Banu Gibson's Radio. Yes. I don't know if any of you know it. Go on whatever it is you go on. She does it in very Betty Boop 1930s style. I just can tell you that it says, and I am not a singer, radio, where did you ever go? Why don't you come back and entertain me? Comedy, mystery, a fireside chat, wherever you're at, I know you're always going to be my favorite show. So, as other people have said, it was about the magic. And for all you artistic types, which I am not, what we do is important, but how we have to do it or why we have to do it, Paul's process is really, really important. And I'm going to tell you that the current management didn't get it the night we moved from Magnolia. We started hearing all of us old hippies, started hearing very odd things that had nothing to do with the staff being the servant of the servants, which is all of you on air or off. And as we left, having talked with Kelly and others, one of the engineers who helped get that Larkan transmitter up down in Lower Arnold said she doesn't get it.
Nope.
So for all of you tonight who are here, I would say donate money, because what we have to do is going to cost a lot of money. Don't believe a lot of what you hear on the street. We have an educational license. Unlike commercial spectrum licenses, we can't just sell it. But there are a lot of ways you can play games to transfer expenses or costs. This license was renewed in October of 21. It's good for 8 years until October of 29. I looked it up the other day. But when you are off air, you have to notify the FCC, and that puts you at risk. So I am begging everybody in this room tonight, I don't care if it's $5, $1, $10, $100, we're going to need attorneys at the FCC to fight ownership. There's going to be huge legal fees. And I am begging you, if you love KDHX, and I think most of you do, because you're here, get behind Love KDHX and give them some money, because we can do this. I'm not going to talk strategy, but it's going to take community, and it's going to take activists, just like all of us little hippies. So if they don't have your email address, give it to them tonight. Somebody start a list.
There is a list. There's clipboards, and there's the green, right there, little hearts on it. That's where the clipboard is. You can sign up, write legibly, emails, phone numbers. Yes. You did. Where's my book?
There's going to be a point soon when letters to the FCC, letters to other political powers may very well make a difference. So please sign up to do that.
That point of service, that the volunteers serve the audience, the board supports the volunteers, and the staff serves the volunteers. My first career was I was a waitress. I was a duff out. And I was never really a big fan of service. It's like, I don't think about that. But what I realized when I was a really good waitress was service is an exchange. You give somebody a good time, you bring them their dinner, and then they pay the restaurant and they give you a tip. And exchange of service, exchange of resources, exchange of our different capacities. That's what this is all about. It's not about holding on. It's not about taking control. It's not about being in charge. Yes, you do have people that have to run the show, but the democracy that Pablo articulated, that is something that we can work on right here in our local area and learn from and then translate that into how we are in our society as a whole. This is a real learning opportunity, and it's a real opportunity for each one of us to develop that perspective and cultivate that capacity for exchange.
We got River.
Do it, River. Hello. St. Louis Public Radio. Wow.
I was not planning on talking tonight, and then Kristen looked over at me, and now I have a microphone. I would be going on air in less than an hour tonight. My show is Alternative Angle on Tuesday nights, 9 to 11. And while I have this space, I just want to talk about how much it's meant for me to be there this last year. This set was supposed to be one of my monthly all-local sets, and that was my favorite part of being at the station. And it meant so much to all of these artists that I played on the radio. I had people tell me that they got calls from their parents crying, hearing them on the radio. I had friends say they ran out of work without clocking out to catch it, that they gathered together with their entire families in their living room to listen to their music being broadcast. And there's something special about radio. When radio is played, it inhibits physical space. When the radio is out there, that music is physically with us, and that is incredibly powerful. And I am here to do every single thing I can to get KDHX back to where it needs to be, back to supporting the community and supporting St. Louis artists. And I've met many of you, and I'm excited to meet many more of you as we continue this fight.
Hey, greetings everybody. Thank you for coming. All of you have been the blood, sweat, and tears, and now the money. The KDHX that we're going to need moving into the future. I did a show, I got started years ago, sitting around the table all night long around at Magnolia, answering phones, taking your calls and your pledges, and then I swooped in. I got involved with Mr. Roots, who was originally with Sister Nancy, and I got involved with producing their show, and then when Sister Nancy, and you probably remember James Mullins, they moved away, got married, moved away, and life was happily ever after for them. And me too, because I got to move in and take care of Mr. Roots and do that show. And then I eventually moved into Tony C's shows and co-hosted with him, who would be here tonight. He's been around the station 37, 38 years since the beginning, but his brother got in a car accident and he wound up taking him home from the emergency room. We go back to Tom Papa Ray. He was the one who got this all started and actually brought Kelly and Andrea.
Come on now.
Out from behind the curtain. Yes. And Tom Ray made issue with the fact that they did not pay tribute to John McHenry, another person that was fallen at the station. And so they took, and they actually told me after the meeting, they had a meeting at Parker's table, and we all got together, and I said, show me the evidence. Tom's on trial. And they go, oh, well, we can't do that. Trust me, believe me. I've learned anytime somebody says, trust me, believe me, no.
Accountability.
Yes, accountability. Anyway, I don't trust them, never will. The next 7 months produced our emergency meeting where we elected Courtney and Kip Louie, who's also here tonight. Darian Wigfall also was elected, and he never got seated properly, but we'll make mention of him. And what a sham that whole situation was, right? Emergency meeting, that's when I stepped down that Tuesday night right after the meeting. I had listened to Tim Rankle and the Mystery Train, and Tim was like, I'm going on strike, I can't put up with this. I got the same idea, and I did my last show that night, which was during a pledge drive, and every time they would come on with their announcements, I would turn them down and turn up the music. Crazy. I just wanted to thank all the new DJs, and certainly sign up. I've got the sheet right here, the clipboard and the sheet, and River, what a great job you did along with Gene. And being that we want to honor Bob Marley's birthday coming up, what's 2 days from today, and in honor of our good fallen friend who is so investigative in this procedure, Michael Kelker, we will never give up the fight.
I'd like to just ask people to be a little bit more focused. If you can, it's 8:21, we're planning to be here till 9, we could be here a little longer than that, we want to hear from a lot of people. So thank you for your focus, and thanks for everyone who is bearing with all this. Share.
Well, there we go. Okay. Hi, I'm Kip Louie. So man, I was just trying to sneak out the door because I'm a teacher and I'm up at 5:30 in the morning. And then Roy caught me out of the corner of his eye. He said, "Hey, you gonna say something?" I'm like, "Damn it!" But just 2 quick things. I wish I was half as articulate when I was 20 as River. Oh my God! And if people like River are the future of KDHX, then KDHX has a future. So just hold on to that thought, people. I have probably the shortest tenure on the KDHX board of anybody. I think it was an illustrious week.
You did a great job.
Thank you, yes. So I did my truth to power thing, and they summarily dismissed me. So it's fine. I decided not to mediate with them. I didn't want to subject myself to that. So that was. But listen, we owe a debt of gratitude to Courtney Dowell over right here. I want Courtney to say something, just anything, something else.
Thanks. I don't know what I'm doing with a microphone. I was also nobody before the special election meeting. I've just been a listener since I was like 15 years old. I grew up with KDHX. I've listened to all this. Nobody before also said I listened to all the genres of music thanks to KDHX. I have a really broad appreciation of music thanks to KDHX. I go to shows all over town. I go to shows out of town. I support the crap out of bands that I love. I go to shows and I don't even know anybody who's playing there just because it's a good thing to do to support. And I have KDHX to thank for that. I know a lot of the new DJs maybe don't know the extent to which KDHX was such a force in the community at one point in time. It does so much for our local musicians, so much for our local artists, our venues, our businesses. As G mentioned, it's an ecosystem. It's so interconnected, it's so supportive, and we will get there again. Thanks for being here. This is amazing. There's so much energy in the community, and I'm just so thrilled to see us all still here together. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks everyone for being here. I'm Dan Waterman, host of I do have a question for folks. With regards to a purchase of an FCC license, do we know what that would cost in a major market like St. Louis? And also, if there would be a bidding war, but just kind of want to talk numbers for a second if you want this context there.
We do know what that would cost. It's kind of like a going rate. It's kind of like, house size in the marketplace. Yes, we do. It's based on the size of the listening area, and actually not even the whole listening area. KDHX at full power broadcast to about an 80-mile radius. We'd be looking at about the 60-mile radius and the population in there. And the going rate for a non-commercial station is like $1 to $1.20 per person in that area. So when you multiply that, it's cheap at twice the price, right? Well, it's cheaper than what you have to send to KDHX. So when you multiply that times the population, it comes up to about, when I'm remembering my math, was it like $2.6 million? Now, that said, what will the market bear? When you think about what are, how people are buying houses or how people are buying anything else when you can't bid on it, is the station riddled with debt going to go for a cheaper price? Are there going to be a lot of parties interested in it? Is there going to be competition? That's all stuff that we're paying attention to and keeping track of. So no simple answer, but yeah, we're paying attention to that.
If we're going to ask for money, we've got to swing for the fences, so that's kind of what it sounds like here.
Yes, but it's something that's doable. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't doable. It's doable, even if it's 3 million. 3 million, it's doable. That's a goal that we can do. So yes, it does take money. Yes, money is important. Yes, money is important to ensure that this lifeline continues. It's yours. It's yours. We need to fight for it. This is a time where, instead of getting angry, and we all are angry for the last 3 years and longer, we're very angry. But this is a time, this moment in time, is a time of change. Change of direction, change of leadership at the executive level. Talking about a complete overhaul of the board. It's change like that that's going to take place and reinvigorate KDHX. There would be at least one person on the board that would have sense to know where KDHX needs to go. You just heard from her. Called the gathering. The question is, do we have people in the community that would want to be a part of the new board? That's what that's going to take. What you knew of KDHX before, it's going to take something similar to build it for the future. So, you know somebody that has the ability, or a partial ability, to financially help us? We're asking, do your part and encourage them to come on board, to be here with us. You have a vested interest. So do I. Let's make it happen.
We are as strong as our connections. So there are plenty of people who I know aren't here, are listening online, or just couldn't make it in general. We have the ability to spread the word to them, pass on Facebook pages, pass on ways to sign up for email addresses to people who couldn't be here tonight, because that is very important that we utilize all of our connections possible.
And I really encourage you to think of this as an opportunity. As I think back over the events of the last couple of years, it seems to me that there was an opportunity in individuals standing up and saying, this is not right, I'm going on strike or I'm going to resign. There was an opportunity there to clean house, if you will, and get some strong voices out. There was an opportunity taken just this week to fire every single volunteer so that those many volunteers that could have voted as associate members not to sell the station are no longer associate members. However, mosquitoes are opportunists. They will find standing water to breed, they will reproduce, they will find a person to take a blood meal from to reproduce. And if we think of this as an opportunity as well as a crisis, anybody who here has ever thrown the I Ching knows that those are two sides of the same coin, and work both of those sides. We do.
So we have this guy over here, then over here.
We can go till 9:30. We got an hour.
Go with your turn.
Bob Heber, I'm a listener. I have three relatively quick questions. It's my understanding that you guys have formed an organization or a corporate entity of some sort. I'd like a little more detail about exactly what class of not-for-profit corporation that is, or whatever the details are. I'm wondering what range of options you are considering. Would you only consider purchase of all the that is currently KDHX, the frequency, the building, the transmitter site, or would you consider components thereof? And I'm wondering if you might even consider something like moving all of this operation to another frequency in town. I'm also wondering how much advice you are getting in terms of business management or accounting expertise, because it seems like the core problem to KDHX over the past 20 or more years has been a series of really fundamental catastrophic business problems, which people with good business expertise would have normally avoided.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, currently Love of KDHX. It was set up originally in response to our attempt to unionize as DJs and volunteers. As volunteers, we could not be recognized by the NLRB, so we set up an auxiliary and we got not-for-profit status. We are a nonprofit corporation with the state of Missouri, and we have a 501c3 status with the federal government. So with that in mind, we're positioned to take, to shepherd our resources towards that fight. The second part of your question is, the core of what we're fighting for right now would be the FM license and the transmitter. There's questions about how smart the move to Grand Center was, what do we need to operate, how do we sustain ourselves if we ever get control. So the core thing of what we're looking for right now would be the FM license, the name, the transmitter, and the internet capabilities, software, hardware to go along with that. And the archives, because a lot of the history and legacy of music in St. Louis has been captured at KDHX, at the radio station.
It belongs to the community.
And it is in their hands, so that is the fight, right? So with that in mind, the ability to get a brand new FM license is difficult, not impossible, but one would have to be available if we didn't buy one. They do open it up every once in a while for new ones, but the best opportunity to transmit on an FM license right now is the station that we've all helped grow and build. So that's the immediate fight. If we don't win that, then we're looking at other opportunities, low power FM, AM possibilities, the internet, applications on your iPhone, anything like that. But the heart of what we're fighting for is the FM license and the transmitter. I hope that answers your question.
And I just wanted to add on, you kind of talked about business acumen, and like the current leadership, the current board has obviously failed in their financial responsibilities. Love is about, I want to say 40 to 50 people right now, pretty active people that cross the spectrum. We've got lawyers, I'm an MBA. I know we have an investment broker in the team. So, and if we get to the point where we own KDHX again, we will do a qualified search for an executive director that will have business acumen. I mean, I will be in that interview process. So we will definitely not make the mistakes that they've made. I mean, we'll make mistakes. We'll make a lot of mistakes, but we're not going to make the same mistakes.
And radio is a part of that. We are already online. KDHX has been online for a long time. It was Chuck Lavazzi who got the station online when nobody else understood that or cared about that. So it's not an either or. Keeping broadcast, keeping radio, that is another thing that we are committed to. Community radio, the voice of and for the community.
Hello, my name is James Stoll. I have been producing the Thursday events calendar for what would have been, as of this month, 10 years. While most of you have probably heard my voice, I don't think there's a single person in this room who knows me personally. And all of what's happened, I think, underscores the importance of creating community and connecting with one another. So I just wanted to introduce myself. Please feel free to say hi. I listen to a lot of Fish, if anyone wants to talk about that.
Yes.
My question, guys, so you sent out an email on Friday that encouraged terminated volunteers to formally challenge their termination. I've never been terminated from a volunteer position before. So I was wondering how should I go about doing that? And then are there any other things that terminated volunteers should be doing right now to help?
In theory, you can't fire the self-appointed, but that apparently doesn't function in practice.
What we're going to recommend right now is that if you were terminated, you will receive notification. My understanding is a lot of people also receive by mail notification.
Email.
Okay, so you got something in the mail. So it was announced on Friday by email. It was followed up by first-class mail. They're trying to dot their I's and cross their T's. It says that if you feel like you don't fall in this category, but we're recommending one, that there's a difference between being a volunteer and associate member. So Missouri doesn't have real estate, the volunteership. There's nothing to broadcast right now. We still say you should challenge that, but we should definitely challenge your termination of associate membership. We recommend that you write an email and a letter, keep a copy, send it certified. You can send it first class mail, but just track it. There was a conflict resolution process that the station had that seemingly disappeared. But we recommend that you first write a letter asking for that, and perhaps in the same letter, that you ask them not to use your voice or your playlist. Okay? Our understanding, I don't know how, I'm not listening 24 right now, 24/7, but some voices are being used to encourage people to continue to give. And there's stuff on the website that you can ask them taken down. I know everyone signed a contract, but you can still make the request and make it formal. We don't know, they don't follow their own rules. There's been a number of lawsuits that they've buried. They're not following the terms of their own settlements. It's very difficult to fight this fight, but if it does get to the point where they are held accountable in front of the judge, having those things there will give us more weight. So we encourage you to write the letter, write the email, ask them to take your option. One, reinstall you as an associate member because you've done nothing wrong. Two, don't let them use your work and your image and your likeness.
Okay, love will back you up. Love will back you up.
Where Cassie's going to add on to that.
I just wanted to add, I noticed that many of you still have your names on the KDHX website and the schedule. You can also ask them to take your names down from that schedule. But before you do that, I would save and download any playlists that are in the archive. You may want to try to do that, but you can ask them to take your name off the schedule.
Out of curiosity, do any of the DJs still have access to their Spinatron list?
So,
yeah, I would. If you have an opportunity to grab those, I would grab those.
Hold on, we got one here and then you. Sorry, Dave.
Hey guys, first of all,
It was on.
It's a little bit wonky, that mic.
I can help.
Here you are.
Hey, there we go. Hi, I'm Rob Levy, and this is my 30th year volunteering. Doing a show.
Never heard of you.
Yeah, I can hear it. I love the name. Anyway, first of all, I just want to thank all you guys for everything you've done over the last year. I know the perception of a lot of the current DJs aren't really in the loop on things, but a lot of us are, and you guys have done amazing work. And in case no one else thanks you for working on our behalf, thank you. I think the thing that people need to recognize is that all of these folks have lived with this stress in their lives since they lost their shows. And this is also a strenuous self-care thing, so please thank these people and give them money. The big thing also that I think is really important about KDHX is when I started, Larry Weir pulled me aside. He pulled all the new DJs aside and said, "This is not your show. This is your slot of time that you're filling to give back to the community. It's like your detention, but you get to play great records." And I've never lost thought of that, right? And the great thing about KDHX is because probably for the last 19 years, the station's been completely and utterly shitting all over the people that are doing it. They don't recognize the anniversaries of people that have shows. They don't recognize people that are gone. They don't call record labels back. They don't talk to local bands. There's tons of things that have to be good. But the one thing that has been great about KDHX is all of the DJs that you're on the air with, even if you don't like their music, they push you to do the best damn show you can every week, because it's a link in a chain, and we are all linked, as you said, Gene, in an ecosystem. And that's very important. And this idea of community and service is really, really important. So thank you guys. And I just, as somebody that's been around for a while, that's been conflicted and been asked, let's see, last year 12 times if I was Johnny Diamond, which I'm not. And they even asked DJs, other DJs on the air, like as of last week if I was, which was pretty hilarious. But just thank you, and everybody stick together. This is not a time for anybody to put it. Anybody's got fights, anybody's got grievances. We're all on the same team now. We're all one city. Let's do this.
My name is James Williams. I am president and running for the board of KDHX. This one last year was not successful. I'm not too confident that I'm going to get a prompt response from the board, but I'm going to give them a call tomorrow and see if they've got my application still. But the reason that I'm here is because a lot of people in this room, in this organization, like KDHX, gave me the opportunity to be nominated for the board. And they went through a great deal of time and effort to coordinate exactly the kinds of activities that we're talking about on this day. I'm the beneficiary of it, and KDHX is going to be the beneficiary of it. I'm here because I believe in the future of KDHX, because the future is here.
We live? I'm Scott F. I'm watchful of the fact that this has been not just a catastrophic event in the last few years and the purges and all that, but this process of devolution has been going on for a while. Recall that KDHX was, in the prior era, the cable access channel manager, and they were running video training programs. This went back to, late 90s and early aughts. And that was a member privilege and benefit and operation. I took advantage of that, got involved in that, actually tried to instigate and set up a deal to do video training for journalists. I was linked in with the Indie Media Center here in St. Louis. We were trying to get that going. And that happened, scotched the deal. And when I went to the board to ask why they reneged on the arrangement to do this interesting video training, I got kicked out as a member. But this goes to something important about the membership structure of KDHX that used to be there. And this was something that John Shoemaker, I spent a little time talking to him when this whole crisis broke. And in the inception of the organization, when the articles were written in 1972, they really anticipated a member-supported organization. And the membership provided a backing for the associate volunteers and an oversight. And that element of this is much to the meaning of what community media means. And I'm interested in what thoughts there are about restoring the membership structure of KDHX and giving people really a sense of stakehold in what goes on going forward.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question. We definitely want to restore the democratic way that KDHX was. We want, if you give any money to KDHX, you are a member, and you get to vote for what happens at this station. So that is absolutely something that we want to do. We want to take the power, the top down that they've been doing, and flip that over. And we want the members to have more say. We want the associates to have a bigger say in who gets on the board, how that board works, and how it operates. So, absolutely.
And clarify, the member structure was basically, taken down, from 15 years ago.
Right. 15 years ago, right around there, they decided, and they didn't notify any of those members that they were no longer members, which is also really shitty thing for them to do. But we are definitely going to reinstate that type of system.
Scotty, I want to speak to that too, because I mentioned a while ago the National Federation of Community Broadcasters. That is an organization that was created out. Two of the founders of KDNA, which are the ancestors of KDHX, helped create that, and it's still going on. And the stations that are members of that, some of them are teeny tiny little stations like in Talkeetna, Alaska. We were a big contributor. KKFI, Kansas City, KOPN, Columbia, they're both still members. I feel very strongly committed to getting KDHX back into that network because community radio, that strata, like Strata in Rocks and the Grand Canyon, it's a way of communicating. It's a level of that we used to be really antagonistic and like, well, it's the corporate station to St. Louis Public Radio. We need to be working together with other communications entities and arts entities in our community to best serve our community in the way that the media landscape is functioning now, which is light years different from what it was. So I feel very strongly and personally committed that this station in a big market needs to connect with its sister and brother stations across the country and back in that network so that we can learn from them what's working, what's happening relative to federal regulation and funding and blah, 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 and how can we be the best community radio station that we can be in which we have disconnected. We've cut ourselves off from that network. Station management cut us off. I asked for us to reinstate in a meeting that I had with Kelly and Andrea in February of this past year. And the response was, well, they don't really want us because we're too big. That was actually a lie, because I had conversations with the current director and the recently retired director of the National Federation of Community Broadcasters. So there's more connections, there's more relationship beyond our community that we can tap into and contribute to and learn from, and that's something to look forward to as well as strive for.
We gave money to WWOZ.
Excuse me, in a room full of giants, it's rather daunting to come up now. My name is Kim Gardner. I'm not that I have two questions. The first one is, will there be an associate member meeting this month?
We don't know.
We don't think so because they've gotten rid of most of the associates. So if it is, it would just be board and staff that would be included on that.
Those are the only associates. I'm hearing a lot of talk about, the time is of the essence. We got talk about the station maybe coming up on the market for sale, which, in my opinion, that is like the death knell. That's the falling off the cliff. I was just going through the bylaws and looking at actions that have occurred in just the past a year, 2 years, besides failing to follow the bylaws, because associate members are automatically appointed by the bylaws. Termination, there's a set of bullet points that they have to follow. So you can only terminate based on those requirements in the bylaws that they've not followed. They made the revisions to the bylaws, and as we've already talked about with the change in membership, they've made false filings on their IRS forms, on the Form 990 of the Schedule O. That does not match what's in the bylaws. They've not recognized associate members, the annual meetings. They've failed to fully staff the board. They've improperly removed directors. With all these things going on, at what point do we say, let's pull the trigger? Why don't we file an injunction now to stop them? There's enough information to get in front of a judge and say, this is, time is of the essence, and this is the time we have to take action to stop what is the demise of a community.
We might be there.
Before X24 starts, I want to say there's room and love for you.
Bylaw sniffer.
We need more of what you've done.
Bylaw
So
pickers.
I know Chris is going to speak to the law side that I know nothing about, but please do sign up. Please come to our next public meeting.
So we've been tracking all this, we've been following all this. We wrote a very extensive, not we, but the petition that was filed asking for the removal of the directors that was filed covers many of the things that you talked about, and it's just the opening salvo. That was filed last Wednesday. We were trying to serve them. I do not believe as of this meeting they've been served. But even now, we're drafting whatever kind of relief that we can ask for a judge. The trial might be months away, but we might be able to stop them with an injunction. So we were looking at that possibility. Can't go into timing, can't go into specifics, but we are looking at all those possibilities. More lawsuits might be forthcoming, but we wanted to get this one in. We didn't know when they were going to pull the trigger, what was the next step, but we knew we had to get something in so that we weren't chasing from the start, that we'd have an active petition to try to work from. So we'll wait and we'll see. We're not going to wait, but we'll be hopefully filing something in the not too distant future. Time is of the essence, but we don't have to do something tonight, but we're preparing for the next step. So we are expecting a response. We're working on it, and we'll see where that goes. One of the problems is that there is not a lot of nonprofit. There is a Nonprofit Corporation Act within the state, but it hasn't been used very often, so it's very unclear what it's going to do, what we can lean on. Obviously, we can look at a lot of things and speculate. We can read into it, but we don't know what a judge is going to say. We don't know what the response is. But we can say this is, even if there's a sale, even if something goes on, we're going to, if there's any windfall from the sale, we're going to fight to get the board back. And if there's anything that comes from the sale, we're going to, so we want to try to capture the station.
And lock them up for fraud.
You would like that. But yeah, we're in it for the long haul, we're in it for the short game as well.
Kim Gardner said, oh, yes. Okay, 6 minutes to 9. We've got a few more people that would like to speak. We're moving right along here. Thanks to everybody for keeping it going.
Hello. Have you ever heard anyone say, never meet your heroes? They were wrong. Thank you. Thank you to all of you. Countless moments of joy to many, many people in the community. So yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for working hard to keep it going. Of all the wonderful things that we've heard tonight, one particular word that you probably alluded to that I haven't heard is justice. Returning the station to the community is just and right. And that's just something that I've pulled together from what you said that I really just wanted to say louder.
Lean on that and lift your foot. It's not the most comfortable.
That would be better, thank you.
Baby boomers and Gen Xers, there's a few millennials in the house, but mobilize your kids. Get the 20-somethings, get the energy and ability to go viral to help. This doesn't have to be a St. Louis community problem, that we can reach everybody who's ever lived in St. Louis and listen to KDHX. There's a lot of opportunity to go bigger and beyond. Thank you again for hosting and all you do.
I'm not a DJ, and I've been barely involved with the community at all. I just moved to the city like 2 years ago after 10 years. KDHX is it's the reason it's worth being. Things like that, KDHX, the library, roads, the post office, it's up there. And on the community side, I don't know anything about litigation or management or whatever. Where is the benefit show? What can artists do? How can people plug in from the street level? All the punk bands I know, the rappers I know, where are we at with that? If there's a sign-up sheet or a series of shows going on, do you need that? Do you need people to do that? There is a weird difference between a belong sign and a flyer as two distinct people that are looking for. So if you need, flyers, shows, things like that. Roman number or something.
And I've talked behind the scenes with some people, but right now we have been focused so much on trying to actually save the station from going under and keep it operating. But that is a part that we would want to expand on in the future, leveraging our community for events that could help fundraise and that could help push forward. So maybe that's something from this moment on that we definitely commit to a committee or something of that nature that would organize the community.
There is the programming committee from Love of KDHX that is trying to put together events. So if you're interested in being a part of that, then show up to the next meeting.
Yeah, this is Kate speaking, who's in the Love KDHX. There are subcommittees in Love for fundraising, for things like that. You guys, if you've already signed up, please attend. We're looking for ideas, and this is great community involvement, and we need to keep doing it.
And there are concerts and festivals and DJ spins, and it's not just a meeting.
Can I make clear that this isn't just about KDHX. This is about taking the board of directors from Double Helix. And I'd like to know if the station's gone, if we lose that. And I know that's negative and nobody wants to hear that. What are your plans with Double Helix after that's done, should you be successful in any of this? What is the plan B?
So right now, we have a lawsuit to remove the directors. If we were to be successful in removing the directors and having others put on, and the radio station was already gone, then the commitment would still be to create another radio station or to take the funds in an effort. I know Gyre Society, I know there's been talk from this group, but at least to take the legacy and the principles that KDHX is founded on and reinvest any profit that was received into restoring what should be community radio.
Hello. It's a very impressive turnout. So many wonderful, really cool people here, and I think it's a testament to just all you've done, all of you together. And all I am is a long-time listener, but my hat is off to everyone in this room. God bless you for all you've done, and hopefully will continue to do. So, as I understand it, then there's basically two possible avenues. One is to buy the station or the license, and the other is to take it over. I would just urge, please let's not try to raise enough money to buy it, because there are so many idiots out there buying up broadcast license, Sinclair. I mean, you get into a bidding war. I'm not trying to rain on, an idea, but I think the much better avenue would be to try to take it over. I'm a union, I work for a union, I organize, and I work in media. I work for the United Media Guild here in St. Louis. And I go up against like Gannett and McClatchy and Lee Enterprises, and go to shareholders meetings and just create as much havoc as possible. And my whole job consists of hearing 9 words at the bargaining table, and the 9 words are, what's it going to take to knock this shit off? Once I hear that, I know we're going to get a contract, we're going to get, and it just seems to me, my sister here on the end, like you, I am an old feminist. And what you said earlier about relationships, when you're the great Saul Alinsky, not to dive down a rabbit hole, but when you want to agitate someone, when you're organizing a group of people, Obama, when he worked for Gamaliel, which is a faith-based community group of organizers, you talk to them about, I thought you cared about things like social justice or, women's autonomy. How come you're not, why aren't you up there? Why aren't you doing that? And agitation doesn't mean pissing someone off. Agitation, the agitator in a washing machine goes up and knocks all the dirt off the clothes. An agitator, when he's speaking to someone, he knocks the sexism off their thinking, the racism, all the isms. He helps people see things clearly so he can move them. You have to be, but when you said you have to be in relationship, you can't just walk up to someone you don't know and try to agitate them. You will piss them off. But if you have a good relationship with them, you can actually move them into action. So I'm hearing all this talk about transbergs, and I know they've done a hell of a lot, and I'm thinking, who is in relationship with these people that can go and make an ask and say, hey, look, this is important to our city, this is important to our community, you have an opportunity here. I would urge us, everyone in this room, to think along those lines rather than try to get into a bidding war against a bunch of right-wing, media moguls.
I really hadn't planned on speaking, but Kristen made me.
I did not. I just asked.
I just want to thank everybody here for showing up and showing their support for KDHX.
Jimmy, you want to say who you are?
What?
You want to say people don't know who you are?
What?
I don't.
Who are you?
You followed me for 5 years. Don't be shy. More than that. My name's Jim Bruce, I've been hired around. About 30 years, within 2 months from now, within my 30th anniversary. But I just want to thank everybody for coming out and showing their support to KDHX and for everything you guys have been doing. It's just stunning work that you guys have been doing. And just, let's keep the faith. Because we need to keep the faith, and we need to keep this together. And we can't do it without everybody sticking together and pulling in the same direction. That's what it's going to take. It's all of us moving in the same direction with the same goal, which is to regain control of what is our radio station that a whole bunch of people in this room built with their body, soul, with their own hands and with their dollars. This room is filled with people like that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dan, long-time listener, first-time caller. But just really simple. I know this may seem simple to a lot of people here, the answer to this, and without getting into name-calling and invectives against the administration and the board, what really is their reasoning for trying, I mean, just to, I know you can't, well, seriously, what is their reasoning for trying to destroy what they supposedly love, or or is it a money grab? Is it an incompetence? I know we can all say it's a lot of things, but really, rationally, I mean, and if it's a money grab, who makes the money? I mean, just so that we can all hear, because maybe I'm not smart enough to understand. I just want to know it's something that I love, that we all love, and we can all talk about how much we love it. But what really are you and everyone up against? Thank you.
That is a really, really good question, and almost unfathomable, given, you know, it's not like they're in charge of some country or in charge of some whatchamacallit. And Kelly Wells may have gotten a raise up to $106,000 a year, but is she ever going to get a job in this community again? I don't know. What is with this control of a thing and driving it into the ground? That is a really good question.
I can answer that. Paul. It's driven by ego. Plus, there's a track record. The damage that she's done here in St. Louis, there's a track record. The damage that Gary Pearson has done to St. Louis, there's a track record. Exactly. These individuals are full of malfeasance. I could use other words, but you wouldn't understand what I'm saying. In a nutshell, malfeasance. They're the mafia. When you have a mafia, there's no accountability at the top. You get any instructions from top down and you follow. That's what's been happening. As far as the money trail, that's what they say in America, follow the money. I think that should answer your question. It's about money. It always is. Where's the money going? If somebody can give themselves a raise, give themselves a salary of $106,000 every year, where's that money going?
True, but there are other people involved. That's what I'm asking. I was like, it seems like there are a number of people involved working toward the destruction of this entity.
When you have a non-complicit and non-compliant board that sits by aimlessly, pathetically, and incompetently, and does absolutely nothing, that's where the problem is.
We've kind of fallen into, as an organization, a cult of personality. And there's a couple of egos that are driving this. All the power is kind of locked in there. And what should have happened a while ago, and I think, I don't know if Tom's still here, but right after Tom was let go, Tom Papa Ray, there was a letter of no confidence that I think it was over 40 DJs signed of Kelly Wells and her management. And whether you agreed with Tom or not, there was a lot of charges that foresaw a lot of what was happening. And the board, when you find yourself in a deep hole, the first thing you should do is stop doing it. She could have been let go then. They chose to follow her. Vision is a generous word, but that path has led us to where we are today. So it's not meant to point a person. It's hard not to point a finger because it's very obvious, but that's where it seems to go into a cult of personality, mismanagement, standing by, not doing your job, not looking at your stakeholders, your community, the people that are giving money, the people that are volunteers, just focusing on a couple people. So, and hopefully if we do get control, we will build something that will resist that. But good question, thank you.
Well, thanks. I was just saying, obviously she is the main problem, but I'm saying the complicity of the board has been able to allow this to happen. And that's why I was kind of wondering, what is their motivation for allowing someone who is so incompetent? Well, but separates that. If it is money,
you know, this is an interesting stat, if I can just share this really fast. Well, as of right now, 95% of volunteers have been let go. Before this, it had been like 40% over the last 2 years. But what a lot of people don't know is 50% of this members of the board of directors have been suspended, let go, have left the board. So the board itself has been out of the 14 people that have been involved with the board, 7 are not today. So there's been plenty of fight up there that has not gone their way. Courtney continues to fight. Kip was in there. There's other people that have left. So it is toxic at that level as well. So just if you didn't realize it, it's happening in all of us. Thank you for the question.
We got it, Rod.
Hi, I've been asked to give a quick announcement that Keith Dunning is on the line listening or on the interwebs. All right, my name is Nick Spicer, a community member listener. I guess since there's such a vacuum of information coming from the board and coming from the top, I'm sort of asking you to look at your crystal ball, but is there any speculation on sort of what the end game is here from my just bystander perspective? If they fired everybody, they're an organization that cannot really do much. Does it seem to anyone else that they're trying to wind down this organization, or are there alternatives? What is the speculation on what is going on?
We can only speculate. I think that there's one possibility is that they sell the license and they continue as some kind of media platform championing their idea of DEI and whatnot. With new DJs, that obviously will lose its local focus because they may even lose the call letters because that would be part of the sale, I would imagine. But they would be sitting on possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars to employ full-time staff and have another set of volunteers go in and provide whatever content. And they would continue having taken all the money over 38 years, all the assets that St. Louis and the community has put in, and turn into a nice, cushy little, that's one possibility. They're not allowed to distribute among themselves. I imagine they could give bonuses to certain individuals that help move things along to whatever end game they have. If they did wind down, they would have to give it to other nonprofits, and that could be a number of places. So it's hard to say if they really have direction, but I can't imagine that they could crash this and have a legitimate voice in any kind of media environment, but that doesn't mean they won't try. So, speculation.
It's worth mentioning that the biggest motivator right now is probably debt solvency for them. There's a lot of debt in the building, a lot of debt in credit cards, even probably payment towards different PR firms and everything. So that at first, and even probably towards staff and having back pay.
Yeah.
So that's the predominant thing on their mind right now. In the email they sent to us, they had mentioned that we're on a pause to decide what the future of building community through media is. Well, you've eliminated your community. You're going to have to rebuild it at some point. Yeah, so that's where, but if a sale does happen, any leftover money after debt solvency would have to go to a nonprofit. Now, if they create their own nonprofit, they can put does that mean that they can then pay salaries? We don't know. So again, there's some
Watch out for a
assumptions.
church. Okay, DEI is a public relations cover. Watch out for this thing going to some church organization.
I think with a gentleman here, and then if there's Kristen, if there's anybody else.
We got 2 people over here.
2 more people, and then we're going to wrap it up. So 3 more people. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be in this room. My name is Luke Sievertson. I own Forest and Memorable Shopping Clinic here in St. Louis. Long-time listener, love the place. Thank you. It's amazing to even be talking to all you people that talk to me every week. We talked briefly of numbers. We heard the number of $3 million to buy the station, which the gentleman from the union said, bad idea to get in a bidding war with Sinclair and these other media organizations. It sounds like there's other numbers involved here, though. There's the number, potentially, the lowest number possible is if we win legally. And what's that number going to be to cover legal fees and the debt solvency of the station if we take power? That's probably the only number other than buying the station outright, it seems. So I'm curious what that number is so that we can have like a target in our minds as a community to reach, to at least fight the legal battle, or the very little, to at least push this thing farther. And if not, if we get past that, to cover the debt solvency that we know is a problem. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your question. So the last financials we saw were year-end 2023. At that point, I would have guessed about $500,000 of debt solvency. We don't know what's happened since then. We don't know how many months or weeks they haven't paid their staff. We don't know what other credit cards or lines of credit they may have added since end of 2023. If I had to guess, I would say that that's probably $750,000 to $1 million. Legal fees, I can't really comment on. We have call it a war chest to pay lawyers, but if we get into trial and we go to that point, it's going to extend past what we have. So, like I said, the debt itself is probably $750,000 to $1 million, and then whatever legal fees on top of that.
I don't really know how much a lawyer costs these days, thankfully. Do you have any guess what lawyer fees would be for situations like that?
A lot.
So right now, lawyers can go anywhere from $250 to $500. We have one that's in that range. We also know that the chances of this going to trial, it would be 9 months to a year off. One of the things we're looking at is that on that road, there would be a lot of discovery, and a lot of questions would be addressed about how the finances were done, how they've done certain things with personnel, what has actually been going on. And that alone might be worth the price of admission for a lot of this. So, but without going, it could easily reach 6 figures, but we're hoping, our hope is that we'll get it early and it won't go that far down the line.
Thank you very much. Let's get it.
Also, real quickly, I want to address, there was not an accurate, Gary Pearson said in his letter that the lawsuits were a big reason why KDHX had gotten to this point.
Baseless lawsuits, I think is what they said.
Baseless lawsuits. Well, first, every lawsuit that's happened, they settle. Second, they're not paying for, I don't know, if any of their legal fees because they're being covered by insurance. And 3, there might be an accusation that we're being litigious, that we are just trying to go to court. I will tell you that there have been many, many efforts to reach out and talk to them, to meet with them. There's a refusal to meet. This might be a surprise to some of you, but they will not talk to us either. And as late as last December, before we filed the latest lawsuit, before that last lawsuit was filed, another opportunity, we asked to meet with the board to discuss the current financial state, and if there was something that we could do to get together to try to solve this problem together. Obviously, one of our conditions is Kelly not being in charge, but with that in mind, this isn't our first option to go to the courts. It's just the only thing that they seem to be listening to, and barely at that. So just to put that on the record. Thank you.
Thanks. We have 2 more folks here, and then we'll wrap it up for the formal part, and we can mingle a little bit more. And yes.
Hello. That is fine. Hey, Just Board and the True Committee, thank you for entertaining our questions tonight and just holding us and holding this entire organization accountable. So thank you for that. My name is Jose J. Morris Jr. Also go by KDHX. I'm an artist myself. I think I had 2 or 3 bullet points that I was brainstorming back here. The primary ones, besides the thank yous, what are some of those things that you're doing when it comes to partnering with other organizations and nonprofits like the Cransbury Art Foundations, Shira, Dream Defenders, and the likes, in order to generate that interest, that public outcry, and also those resources that's necessary in order to build KDHX up back into the global entity that we know it could be? And then what are some of those things that us artists can do in order to have those shows that generate even further interest? It just gets the community out, gets people buying things, get people talking about KDHX, and gets that hashtag trending. So those are my two questions.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to say thanks for your question. I didn't catch your name, but Jose, thank you. Please do sign up for Number One Love, just to kind of, know what we're doing, know what's happening. There's a lot of things that you brought up that maybe we've been so focused on trying to save the station that we haven't gone down that route. One thing I wanted to mention is we had a letter signed by, I can't remember how many businesses we got, 250 businesses, local businesses that signed on that basically backed us against KDHX leadership. And there was also a statement, I think we got up to like 700 maybe musicians locally that did the same. So there is a huge groundswell of support locally, whether it's businesses, whether it's musicians. But we haven't really reached out to a lot of the community because, frankly, this hasn't been as big of a story locally, like outside of this small group, until the last 10 days. So I think there's a lot of groundswell now, and that's something we can definitely build on. And I think you come up with some good thoughts and good ideas that probably would be very helpful to our team.
And if you have connections, if there are organizations that you work with that you would be willing and able to make a connection to for love, this is a really good time for us to have conversations with possible partners around the community. This is what we're doing, this is what we're working on, how can we work together to keep community radio in this community and to revive it so that it will resume promoting artists and promoting bands and promoting culture and promoting music. It would be really great to tap into any of your connections if you're willing to share this.
So our last one is Sheila, who orchestrated the letter for musicians. I think the applause needs to go to all of these folks, and Kristen right here. I don't know if any of you know Kristen. Kristen has been a warrior that has been just tremendous and just fighting the good fight as all of us have been doing. I think the big thing I want to see right now is we have some momentum now. We have a found passion, right? We all are here because we have passion. And I think the story is KDHX, but the bigger story is actually local roots organizations and all of the things that are happening. And now we have the opportunity right now to actually mobilize and do something. And I want to see us all take this momentum and do something with it. And whether that's donating with dollars or time or whatever you can do, to organize things, folks that have organizing experience that can make things move forward. I think that's really what we all need to do now. And I really hope that you all go home tonight and take some motivation to take action, right? Because we're all here because we are so dedicated to KDHX and what KDHX represents, not just what KDHX might stand for individually as we know it today, but it's so much bigger than that, from us local musicians who got our start being able to perform there, or whatever it is that brought you all to loving KDHX. It's about that community aspect. That is why we're all in this room today. And I really want to see everybody get out, so get out.
Song of hope. It's always darkest before the dawn. Have you all heard that? Yes. Okay,
Thanks very much to everyone who came out tonight. Thanks to Off-Broadway for hosting. We are in good relationship here. We're in a lot of circles, intersecting circles, and tonight's meeting has given I think love of KDHX, some really good, like, you know, how do we organize our next directions? How do we organize our next levels of connections and our next level of stuff for the community? X24, Rich Reese, Alan Dom. Oh my God, I hate it when my brain does that. ITL K and Jackie Tuber, and I'm Jean Ponzi. Thank you very much for coming. Let's talk a little more before we move out tonight.